everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics live on China's television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Let's begin by letting you know that it is official. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has a presidential candidate, and it's in the person of Atiku Abubakar. The former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, has emerged the People's Democratic Party, PDP, presidential candidate for the 2023 election. He won with a total vote of 371 votes. Atiku polled 371 out of 767 accredited votes available to the delegate to defeat his closest rival, the River State Governor Yinsam Wuke, who polled 237 votes. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki came a distant third with 70 votes. Let's take a look at the breakdown of how it was won and lost. First and foremost, let's go back to Atiku Abubakar. This is probably the fourth time the former vice president will be seeking to rule this country. And now, in form of a presidential primary, these are the votes he got. He got more than 48% of the total votes of over 700 delegates available. 371 votes, that's the total votes garnered by the former vice president Atiku Abubakar to emerge the PDP presidential candidate and his runner-up. With a good fight, some people have described the race. From the River State Governor Yinsam Wuke, he got about 34 or so percent of the votes. That's 31% of the total votes with 237 votes. Is the runner-up with Bukola Saraki of former governor of Kwara State and former Senate President coming a distant third with about 70 votes. Now let's take a look at the breakdown, a further breakdown of those who were accredited, how many of the votes were valid, the voided votes, and all of that. Take a look at the total number of accredited delegates, 767, total votes cast, 764, and total valid votes, 752, and there are 12 void votes. Now, it was an interesting race indeed. And after the winner was declared, before then, of course, we saw the governor of Sokoto State and one of the presidential aspirants, Aminu Tambuwal, who stepped to the podium to withdraw from the race and also asked all his supporters to put their votes behind Atiku Abubakar. But this is a moment where Atiku Abubakar gave his acceptance speech. Take a listen to him.
I therefore pledge that I will work to ensure I restore unity and I give a sense of belonging to all Nigerians, irrespective of their places of origin and irrespective of the faith they practice. I also committed that I was going to deal decisively with our security challenges in this country. I also pledge to confront our economic challenges, which were all caused by the APC government. The PDP made Nigeria one of the most prosperous, or if not the prosperous country on the African continent. We implemented economic reforms that brought about jobs, that brought about prosperity in this country. The APC came and wiped out all those gains. Today is a very, very historic day because it is going to give us an opportunity for us to reverse all the misgovernance of the APC government.
Well, Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, who is now emerged second consecutive time as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Now, after his acceptance speech came the presentation of the flag to him, official flag of the party to fly the presidential ticket 2019 and now 2023. He's gotten it again.
And I'm happy. But for this crowd of supporters who are happy that their candidate has won, they're making it quite difficult for Waziri Tambuwal stepped down in favor of a man who we had contested very closely with back 4 years.
His Excellency. Please.
It is my honor and delight to present this party flag to you as a symbol of our unity, our support, and our commitment to win the next election. Congratulations.
The moment he got the party's flag. Well, what does this mean for the fortunes of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and in fact, the 17 other political parties that will feed candidates into these 2023 general elections? Let's get some insight and break it down for you to understand. And Atiku Abubakar from the northeastern region of the country, now getting the ticket of the PDP. I'm being joined by a sitting federal lawmaker, Senator Okechev, who is a senator representing Benue State in the National Assembly, and of course a former presidential spokesperson, and would I say factional governorship candidate in Ogun State for the PDP, Mr. Segun Sowunmi. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Otumba, so you're a chief now.
I'm Otumba Owagbewuni of Idoani.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it might be preferable for us to just go by Mr. Segun Sowunmi on this program for tonight. Thank you so much, if you don't mind.
No, it's not like I mind, I'm just telling you.
All right, let's get to it. Senator, I can see smiles on your face. Yes. How does the emergence of Atiku Abubakar come to you, personally?
Well, I'm happy that the process was free and fair. And you know the Nigerian way of doing things. If it wasn't free and fair, the first people that would be shouting foul would be the aspirants themselves. I have not heard that. And so personally, I'm very happy that the process went on very smoothly. Quite a few times in the past on your program here, I've been one of the most critical voices of my party when things were going wrong, you know, until the last convention when the present leadership of the party emerged, and I started to see things go the right way. And so today is a combination of what I expected should happen with a party that is prepared to take on the ruling party that has failed, in my opinion, to lead the country right. And so yesterday's occasion was, by any standard, a huge success. And I'm happy that the former vice president has emerged the candidate of the party. And I'm hoping that this time around, he will make it not just as a candidate, but you know, through the general elections taking place next year.
On Friday, prior to the primary of Saturday, did you see Atiku Abubakar winning the race?
Personally, I kept my mind open. I mean, I said anything.
You thought it was it's going to be a tight one? I
thought it was going to be a very tight one. I thought where anybody that emerged, we should support the person. That was my position. Because, I mean, everybody has the credentials. Everybody was hoping to win. I may have had my own preferences, but truly, I never really stuck out my neck to say, this is the person I'm sure will win.
But did Atiku Abubakar fall within your your top three?
Of course, he was one of those I thought was poised to win. He wasn't the only one, but he was one of those I thought was poised to win. And Sean, let's face it, what is important in all of which happened yesterday was the fact that the process was free and fair and was clean and made all of us party members very proud. Certainly, some people will go back disappointed because there's nobody that goes into such a race and expects to lose, especially when they have put in so much effort, so much resources, so much time, that will be happy that they lost. But the important thing is that at the end of it, we came out as one strong, united family.
Chief Sowunmi, I know you're happy that I refer to you as Chief Sowunmi.
Doesn't matter really, but let's go.
All right, great. What is your take on Atiku's emergence?
Well, I think before I come to the Atiku emergence, let me step back a little bit and say that for me, I've always seen the conversation around politics as being backed by some scientific patterns. People think that politics is some haphazard situation where there is no form and there is no order, but there is. So, from a scientific viewpoint, you cannot have an Atiku Abubakar who was the flag bearer, who did as well as he did the last outing, whom people thought we believe we were cheated. If he's in the race, very experienced politician. To God be the glory, the contest was very, very keenly contested. There was nerves all over. But at the end of the day, predictably, he won. But it's not predictably he won.
You knew he was going to win?
Absolutely.
Because we're going to go to that analysis in a moment.
Land my thoughts. Predictably, he won. And he won by 48% of the votes, no matter how small the numbers was. And the last outing, he also won by 48% of the vote. You don't have mathematical coincidences. There is a process that leads to this thing. Election, for the purpose of education, is a residual memory recall decision-taking process. Because at the end of the day, the people have to now take that decision. What really informs them? There's a lot of scientific work on how that patterning is done, but we'll come for that. So I'll just say, congratulations, PDP. My boss, His Excellency, former Vice President Waziri Adamawa, congratulations. But more importantly, we have in a country where INEC has laid out the rules, the expectations, how parties should behave. And you've noticed that the only democratic party in Nigeria, PDP, has worked very hard to stay on course. You just have to pray that aside who will be the actual winner of the presidency, which I know and I think is Atiku, we need to be communicating the most positivity of who we are as Africans to the world. By the mere sheer size of our population, anything around our election issues, either in the main ruling party now or in the opposition, is a global event. And tell me, Sheon, you were there. Were you not even proud of the layout, the dramaturgy, the way things just panned out? No. It's only PDP could do this. And I must congratulate the Yoshi Ayu-led NWC for whatever it is worth. That process has gone well. But I will not swallow the saliva in my mouth without doffing my cap for the governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Nyesom Wike. He's young. A lot of the youthfulness came abroad. And you notice he's honest. And at the end of the day, you heard him, even before the votes was cast. He said, I am a party man. Whoever wins this has my total support. It can't be better than that. Truly, it can be better than that. If you don't clap for us, we'll clap for ourselves. And now all of the aspirants have started congratulating themselves. It's PDP time in Nigeria. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Showumi. I'll go to another angle of our conversation tonight, and the Tambuwal effect in this race. There was a Tambuwal effect in Port Harcourt, in 2019. The effect of Tambuwal was predicted and assumed that it was going to win the election until few hours before the process started and everything changed. A similar scenario played out yesterday in Abuja. It looked like a deja vu where someone looked like it was going to get it. At the end of the day, there was a prevalence of some factors that changed the tide. Now, Senator, give me your own perspective to the Tambuwal effect of yesterday. If he had not made that decision, or if he wasn't prevailed upon to step down, what do you think would have happened?
Well, I don't exactly know what would have happened because I don't know how much votes he was bringing to the table. Okay, so the decision that he took was important. I'm sure it added to the Atiku votes. Whether that would have made a difference if he had not, I can't exactly sit here. You see, politics is a game of the more you see, the less you understand sometimes. So sometimes people come with, I don't want to take away anything from the Tambuwal effect that you are projecting. Tambuwal is a formidable candidate by any means, and but there were a lot of things going. Let me say certain things that went against his candidature. Okay, coming from the same political zone with the current president, I'm sure that in a way counted against him, and. Maybe he did his own calculations and came to the effect that, well, what if he decides to go on and loses? Will that affect the chances of somebody else winning or losing? I don't know what went into his taking that decision. But at the end of the day, what is important is that he took the decision and, we had the result that we're having today, which everybody is happy about.
Yes, it was projected because I'm one of those who believe in political mathematics.
That's right.
Yes. It was projected to take a third position. A third position.
Okay,
Tambuwal was projected to take a third position. Yinsom Wike was projected by some who were doing the permutations that he was going to lead by about less than 15 vote margin. Just above Atiku Abubakar, and it was projected that Tambuwal was going to get just about 120, about less than 130 votes out of the over 700 votes that were available for taking. Mr. Shawumi, if you can give us an idea with about 120 votes, because we saw Atiku Abubakar first and foremost came into the arena yesterday, but he left. And for the insider information that we gathered was that at the time that he came at first, the talks were still on, and Tambuwal had not decided to step down from him. If he had stayed with his vote and not stepped down and ceded his votes to Atiku Abubakar, do you still think that Atiku Abubakar would have had a day?
Sheung, I like the fact that you like the mathematics of politics. It's a very difficult, cutting-edge area of this trade. But if you put yourself to studious research, it makes it a little bit clearer for you. First point, how many votes are there? It's only the local government votes. Second point, are people locked into their zonal calculation? Southwest, Southeast, all the zonal things. Third point, when the chips are down, what should a politician of Tambuwal status do? And what could have prevailed upon him to do so? I tell you this, people make it seem as if it's easy for Tambuwal to stand up and make that speech, given his relationship with Wike and what happened. It's not an easy decision. In the North, there are two tendencies that drive the habit and the political pattern. There are the ones that follow the old Aminu Kano tendencies, the Talakawa ones, and there are the ones that follow the old Tafawa Balewa, Shagari type of tendency. The conservative but powerful intellectual North. I think Tambuwal has just fitted perfectly into the shoes of the leader, of the potential leader after this generation of old men of that Tafawa Balewa, Shagari type of tendency. And he has taken a decision which, first of all, the way he delivered it was presidential in his own right. Second of all, he's sub 60, he's young. Third of all, favors come in late. Many things will go through his mind. But I would just applaud him for the courage, for the bravery, for all of the strength it takes to do that. Because in some quarters, people will be angry with him. But the truth of the matter is that how would you expect a political party like PDP not to be happy that one of them agreed to step down for one of them? Have you forgotten that some other blocks too, if they knew they were that interested, what stopped some of the other ones from stepping down from themselves? Politics is the act of negotiation. Hard, tough negotiation. Behind the scene brickmanship. And what has happened in full display of everybody is that the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria once again has shown that it is the university of political conversation, political discourse, political processes, political ideology for Nigeria. To propose it, it's not yet time, but we'll get there. To what you expect to see. So imagine if we were just research students from maybe like Harvard, and we were following the Nigerian political space in the last 24, 25 years. Do you understand? What are you going to see? You're going to see ideological consensus for PDP. You're going to see name consensus for PDP. You're going to see color consensus for PDP. You're going to see camaraderie and the so-called family way we do things. You need to understand one thing.
All right.
Human nerves are involved. But at the end of the day, a decision has been taken, and we thank Governor Kamba for it. Even if it only gave an additional 1 vote, the price of 1 vote is very high, and we're happy for it.
There are a lot of calculations that have gone into it, and those who have done the mathematics will say, look, there are more southern aspirants than the northern aspirants in this race, and perhaps also if Saraki has also stepped down all the coalition within the northern bloc in the race, maybe Atiku would have had, or wherever emerged as a consensus in the north, would have had a better vote. But if you look at the outing of some other southern aspirants, you also see that they also make a lot of inroads. For example, Anudom had a 38 vote, Ayim Payosayim had a 14 vote. If you put all of those votes together, some people who had done the mathematics in your party said Wike had won this election 1 week ago. And it looks so much that he has locked in Benue, locked in states like Oyo, locked in Rivers, locked in even Kano had that he had over 80% of the votes. So
until
a lot happened. So a day they say is a long time in politics.
That's exactly why it's called politics.
Absolutely. So interesting, and a lot of lessons to be learned also in all of those who won and those who've lost. But a bigger question here, and I perhaps will ask you first, Mr. Shomi, is what this means in the bigger Nigerian politics. Not talking about PDP alone. PDP as a unit has come forward with Atiku Abubakar. Muhammadu Buhari will be leaving office. Muhammadu Buhari, Northwest Nigeria, Katsina State. 8 years. He would have spent 8 years in 2023. Now, and Atiku Abubakar, candidate of the PDP, Northeast Nigeria, coming forward. What does this mean? Does it upset the zoning or the rotation arena, or what kind of politics does it upset, or does it entrench in Nigeria?
So this is a very serious question you've asked. So I need you to let me lay the foundation of what exactly is going on. It is true that political parties, out of their own convenience, try to be equitable within a certain parameters. In the PDP and in Nigeria, because we have the first bite of the cherry for 16 years, we stuck to that arrangement where Obasanjo got 2 terms, then we went to Yar'Adua, who died, may so continually rest in peace. He put it back to Jonathan. Jonathan finished the term and got another term of his own. And then when he wanted to extend it, there was a lot of crisis in the party. Then we came to Atiku in 2019, the North. If they had won, maybe we'll do 2 terms and all that. Unfortunately, parties don't have a joint zoning arrangement. I kept screaming. Zoning is the exclusive preserve of a political party with the ultimate intention of thinking of how to win and also do equity. Nigeria, for the upteenth time, is divided into 6 zones. May God bless the memory of General Sani Abacha, who did it. They broke, the leaders of that concern broke the country into 6 zones for balance. So that you don't always keep coming to say, oh, they not cheated us, they not cheated us. They have 3 zones. In that zone, they have Northwest, where Buhari is from. They have North Central, who have not produced president yet. They have Northeast, where Atiku is from, where they have not produced. On the Southern Belt, the only equity challenge we have in the South is the Southeastern equity challenge. The challenge now is, should the South not know what exactly the position of the South ought to be? If you assume it without conceding, we agree that they zoned it, or there was a Northern caucus that said, let's go to Atiku. For God's sake, why was there not a Southern caucus that said, let's go here? And why must we be expecting for people to profit from what they don't deserve? The South, with profound respect, have had Jonathan for some time. The Southwest, with great respect, have had Obasanjo for some time. We even have for both of even the vice presidency now. So the PDP tries to be equitable, but you cannot share what you don't have. You can only rotate what you have. When the APC wanted to challenge us, even though they kept changing their name, They stuck with Buhari's 12 million votes. You think Bola Tinubu is a child and he didn't know that in 2015, he could have easily tried to say he wants to be candidate? But he knew that they didn't have what they wanted to share yet. So they have gone to Buhari and they have won for 8 years. APC has an equity challenge, but that equity challenge must be housed within the Nigerian complex. There are still zones that APC can go to. If they like, they can go to the North Central. If they like.
There's only one candidate in the North Central.
Good for them. I was on your program many months ago. I've seen them cut it and use it. And people make a lot of silly comments. But remember that day when you asked me that who was I scared of or who was I worried about? We are not even gotten to this stage. The candidates have not emerged. I told the whole world. I said, that governor in Kogi State, put your eyes on him. One, is young. Two, I see the way he's moving up and down. I see people going there. Now, have I not been vindicated? Have you seen any APC campaign that comes close to what is done? Look, I thrive on honest analysis. Even if it's against me, I'll still tell you, honestly, this is where we are. So for us, let's stay where we're staying. The APC can go north, east if they like. But they have all of the south they can choose from. Would they not be interested in imagining an El Clasico now that Atiku has arrived? If they do an El Clasico, it will mean two of the great horses are going to now go and run the campaign. They know what to do. They know where to look. But the problem with the APC, and with profound respect to them, when they started out, I told the minister, Lai Mohammed, I said, sir, I see what your ideological underpinning of your party is progressive. But let me warn you, stay within your recruiting areas and parameter. If you don't, you can build it organically. Right. Otherwise, your party will become strange even to you. Look at them today. They can't even agree. They were supposed to do that convention today. What if INEC had not been encouraged to shift the goalposts for them? Have we created an independent election commission in this country to be helping a party that is not serious? Should they not even be ashamed of themselves? Look, it's not easy to organize conventions. We did it. It's not easy to organize the one that produced IU. We did it. What have they done with themselves?
All right. Let me go to Senator. Do you think that within the APC, perhaps they have put people to monitor what is happening in the PDP, to watch the TV and say, look, keep watching. We want to see how this pans out. Do you think it probably has upset anything, the ongoings in the APC?
Obviously, I agree with that. It happened in my own state of Benue, and at the level of the governorship race, they waited for us to direct where the governor was zoned to, and they followed him. In fact, they even said it, that we had, we had tipped their hand in terms of where we wanted our distance. So I'm sure that that is what is happening here. They're always shifting, waiting for the PDP to do their own before. So obviously, what they will do will be determined by what has happened, in the PDP today. We are following the American system of government. I mean, one day we will emphasize less on this zoning thing when we begin to talk about capacity and all of that. Then you can have, that's why in there you can have a Bush senior and a Bush junior, both being president of the United States. You can have a Bush being governor here, another Bush being governor in a different state, because there the capacity is the watchword. But here, perhaps because we are a developing country and all this federal character stuff has become so elevated to a point that people price that over competence, they price that over every other consideration. I get that, all of that. For now, perhaps because of our level of development, no zone is said to have monopoly of competence. So people can price that over some of these other things. But we'll get to that point. For now, I think what APC is doing is it's like limping after the PDP. And they are welcome to do that. I don't know where they will head, but I assure you that definitely their decisions will be based on what has happened.
Let's take a breather. After the break, I'd like to get your closing moments, thoughts on the program. But we'll take a break, and when we return, I get the closing thoughts of my guests on the PDP primaries and the outcome of Atiku Abubakar's emergence as a PDP presidential candidate. Plus, we'll also look at the extension of election timetable. IPAC will be speaking with us, and an election observer. So stay with us, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Our closing moments now with Chief Segun Showunmi, a factional candidate, governorship candidate of the PDP in Ogun State, and Senator Emmanuel Okaje. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. The final part of our conversation on the PDP and 2023 is an Atiku Abubakar, like Muhammadu Buhari. This is going to be Atiku Abubakar's 4th time of running for president in Nigeria. Some people will say over 20 years now that he's been wanting to become Nigeria's president. Now, the question is that, Senator, whoever APC, for example, brings, if APC brings or elect a candidate from the South, does it pose a problem for an Atiku?
I don't think so. I don't think it poses a problem. You know, I think this is Atiku's moment. Okay, if it is his movement, the permutations, whether whether the person comes from the north or from the south, it's not critically important, if you ask me. I think just like when it was Buhari's time, you know, all of the other permutations, stuff that he came up.
So Atiku might be 4th time lucky, just like Buhari was 4th time lucky.
Oh, exactly my point. Okay, so this is his movement.
But we don't know just yet who
we don't know, and it doesn't matter for me.
APC
it doesn't matter.
Electing.
The APC too have opened up the space. They didn't zone, so it means that it can come from any part of the country. So, but my point is that even if it comes from the south, southwest, or south or southeast, the point is still the same, because it looks like the APC came on board using propaganda, and Nigerians have seen through that. And so I don't think that will work again.
But you are part of the ones who, because you were, now when you're saying this, you were one of those who preached what you are describing as propaganda.
And I preached and I cried.
But you left, you left only few.
Why did I leave? Because all the promises that were made were not kept. So I said I can't continue to be part of that. That's why I left, okay? So, and I know that it can't continue to fly with Nigerians. So that's why I think it's Atiku's time now.
Okay.
Because definitely they'll come up with the same approach, the modus operandi of trying to promise.
So if APC, for example, brings someone from the northeast, for example, does that pose a problem? Will it balkanize?
You see, there's something fundamentally flawed with the approach of the APC to governance and to, to seeking for votes. It worked then because we had never seen that stuff, that kind of politicking before. Now we've seen it and we've seen through it, and it will not work again. That's the point.
So if you're going to win an election in this country, there are 3 regions that you need also to capitalize on. The northwest region, you need to cut them. The numbers are there. Yeah. Followed by the southwest, you need to cut them. The southeast and the north central region of the country sometimes vote in a block. North central has remained a swing region for voting in Nigeria. Wherever the north central goes, that's where the votes goes. They wait. Interestingly,
let's crystallize the whole stuff. There are certain things that are common to all Nigerians, which the APC promised. Insecurity, they promised to tackle it. The economy, they promised to tackle it. They promised to tackle corruption. All of these things, it doesn't matter. It's not everybody that is a politician, but they are bothered about all of these things. The APC came and failed to address those matters. So when people are voting, they will walk away from the party that promised all of these things.
Let's wrap up now. Let me come to Ms. Showunmi. Now the question is that Northeast sits the 4th on the log in terms of voting population in this country. And that's where your candidate is coming from. Wherever APC gets, or they get from the northwest or from the southwest, does that pose a problem for your party?
Let me tell
these are the power big boys in terms of voting population.
Let me tell you something, my dear friend, and Nigerians. Nations are constantly evolving. We run the risk of assuming that the evolution that's taking place in the country is static. Who would have predicted that, notwithstanding the fact that the APC has been in the northwest for the length of years that they've been there, and naturally they should have easily zoned out the north, who could have predicted that they will leave it open? Who could have predicted that these things will follow this pattern? Who could have predicted that it is the ruling party that will be hopping and hoping to see what did the rivals do before they take their decision? No one could have. That's the evolution that is taking place within the dynamic space of Nigerian development and politics. As far as I see, if what you want to ask me is that, what should APC do? I'll tell you that I think the APC has to go back to the video I made for them, because you asked me then, who was I bothered about? And within that, they will know what they need to do. The truth is, if you look at the analytic, for the Southwest, for instance, what does the Southwest want? Who do they have there? You just mentioned the swing capacity of the North Central. What do they have there? If they want to go and gamble with an Atiku in the Northeast, I wish them luck. But Atiku is not just North. Atiku is pan-Nigeria. His last numbers were even heavily from the southern blocks. And now that you see a governor of Sokoto, you see them stepping down for him, that should tell you that the Northwest is in the bag. The Northeast will be in the bag to some extent. And you now have an Iyoshe Ayu and a very, very experienced sort of people in the North Central. What do you think will happen? It's APC's call. But what I just want them to know and what I want to beg them for is that APC, get your act together. Stop disgracing Nigerians by the kind of disorganized nonsense going on with your... Do it. Let it be good looking. Let Nigerians be proud. Let us see it like a music fiesta. All we're trying to do is elect a president. We don't need to be writing rules to eliminate people or just playing to all sorts of funny galleries. It's disgraceful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I must sincerely thank both of you. Senator Jeff, thanks so much for coming. And it's going to be interesting not to see you in the National Assembly. 16 years we've seen you, but you're not returning, is it?
I'm not returning. Just not returning.
And it's going to be good to see you in on the ballot if you resolve.
I'll make a fantastic governor, I bet you. Business unusual.
You like the name, Your Excellency.
No, I don't know about this. I could even ask you to tell me, just call me Otumba.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
We'll take another break, and when we come back, all the guests on the program will be getting on the stage, and we shall be talking about the extension of the deadline or the timeline by INEC on the election of 2023. Does this have any implication? Stay with me. We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's switch gears now and discuss what the Independent National Electoral Commission did. They've extended the deadline for political parties to conduct their primaries for the 2023 general elections. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of Voter Education and Information Committee, Festus Okoye, announced this in a statement on Friday. It says this comes after hours of deliberation with leaders of various political parties when they met with the leadership of INEC and Professor Yakubu, Mahmoud Yakubu. The Commission headquarters have promised that something will be done, but now it does look like they've done it. Let's look at the implication of this. I'm being joined by the National Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Alhaji Yabaji Sani. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
And the Executive Director of Yaga Africa and Election Observation Group. Thank you so much, Mr. Oitodo, for coming tonight.
Always a delight.
Thank you so much. It's interesting that it was this same conversation that we had. It was heated, and we thought about it, my producer and I thought about it to have you both discuss this. Now you've had your way. Yeah. How do you feel?
Well, I want to congratulate...
Albeit 6 days.
I want to congratulate Nigerians because, and also really commend the effort of INEC for rising to the occasion and really understanding that this is about the nation. It's not about any particular party at all. Because here we are with a new law that has fundamental, far-reaching effects in what happens in 2023 general elections. Because like we all know, selection of the candidates, during primaries is the most important, I think I'm right when I say the most important, activities in the activities lined up for us to have a free, fair, credible, and all-inclusive elections in 2023. So when we realize as political parties that we have a problem in our hands, that this is the law that it's about everything that you want to talk about 2023. And this law, the way it came, it came in a manner that there are so many other things that we are required to do within a very short period of time. And we looked at it, we held a meeting as political parties, all parties I'm talking about, without any exception. And we unanimously agreed that we must approach INEC and seek for an extension adjustment in the time.
What would the extension do for you those days?
Oh, it's doing quite a lot. Today, for instance, you can see some parties have, changed the dates that they earlier fixed, to hold their conventions. And except for the PDP, that at the time, INEC came out with the adjustment, they already, were, very far.
Was it fair
preparations. No, it's not about being fair or not being fair, because I think that request, all of us went to INEC and we said, INEC, look at this, and give us, this breathing space so that we can be able to organize.
All right.
This.
Let me get Mr. Todos.
So people look at it because of the cat and mouse, game between APC and PDP, and thinking that probably it was done to give one party an advantage over the other. But believe you me, that was never in our consideration. It was never. Because
it was a meeting of Friday that prompted the shift.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
And then we now, and that's what we got, from INEC.
Mr. Todo, what's your reaction to the INEC's decision?
Well, I think the decision taken by INEC to extend the timeline for the primaries was disturbing. Disturbing because it appears the commission actually bowed to pressure from the political parties. Even when the commission had insisted that it wasn't going to shift the timeline, you can see that the parties imposed intense pressure on the commission to shift and adjust the timeline for the primaries. I think it is disturbing. It's very disturbing for the independence of the Electoral Commission, because INEC as a constitutional body has the powers, and it announced its timetable and schedule for activities in February, and the parties made this demand for an extension, even though the commission didn't alter the dates for the activities on the timetable, and created this particular window. What this really means, it says a lot about INEC's independence. And for me, it's about how do we protect the independence of INEC in such a way that Alhaji Abaji and his colleagues in the political parties don't mount intense pressure on the Electoral Commission in this manner. It's an assault on the independence of INEC, and I really wished that the commission, held its ground by not shifting.
But should the commission be a rigid commission? Should it not be humane and listen to the people it serves?
Actually, it should, because the commission should listen to the people. But first, the fundamental question is, if the commission continues to listen to requests from political parties, when the political parties do not show whether these reasons that they advance is reasonable, is verifiable, right, and it's cogent, then you're going to have a situation where every time political actors, particularly politicians, will mount pressure on INEC to shift or reverse a decision, because the decision that INEC took in the first place to maintain this time frame, it was in the interest of the electoral process, was in protection of the independence that the Constitution vests on it. But now the parties have forced and mounted a lot of pressure. And you asked a critical question. What will the parties achieve, within these 6 days? It is clear from this scenario that we've got political parties that are ill-prepared to manage their domestic affairs. And the fact that they are ill-prepared to manage their domestic affairs, they are shifting liability on the Electoral Commission and also the Nigerian people. And that's something that we must address.
Let's look at the implication, which is fundamental here. What would the implication of this shift be?
No. You see, they just need to get something very clear about what INEC did. What INEC did, believe you me, does not in any way affect the substance of the timetable that they brought out.
And it doesn't overlap on any activity.
It doesn't. You see what INEC did.
But does it make INEC a bit too too flexible?
No. It makes them to be people that really understand the dynamics of politics and are ready to move with it. But let me make this point.
This point is that you could go to INEC and say,
No, I'm
shift
explaining something. I'm explaining something very important. This is very important.
Go ahead.
What INEC did is this. You see, between the 3rd and the 9th that they have given to political parties now, no activity is, was taking place within that window. Nothing. Originally, that was supposed to be done. So now INEC says, okay, if you think by giving you deadline of 3rd, will create problems, take it to the 9th, because we don't have anything we are doing either. And you don't have anything you are doing either too. So take it to the 9th, when we will ask you to start uploading. So INEC didn't do anything that touches the substance of the timetable that we have been given. All INEC did was...
the timetable has been altered.
It wasn't altered.
That's an alteration anyways.
No. What has happened is that these 3 to 9th, that everybody is supposed to be on holidays, or the political party is supposed to be on holidays, okay, fine. If you would need this holiday to work, go work.
All right.
Don't go on holiday. That's all INEC did.
What's the implication?
I agree with Alhaji Agbaji to the extent that, yes, that window from the 4th, to the 9th was given to the political parties to harvest all the nominations and prepare for upload on INEC's portal. INEC was also going to use that window to train the party officials on how to upload that information. Yes, that is not in contest. That this shift, this adjustment does not affect the other activities. We're not contesting that. What we are contesting, and actually to a large extent it's not even a contest, is there's also, you can look at the political implications. You also look at the perception that this particular pressure that the parties have mounted on INEC will have on the minds of the voters out there. That when you are making demands of the Electoral Commission, just think about the fact that it might, and whenever action INEC takes, might dampen or undermine the confidence that people have.
We need to wrap up. I'll give Alhaji Abagisoni the last opportunity to give his closing thought, just in 20 seconds.
Okay, in 20 seconds, I think I want to commend, the magnanimity of INEC to rise to the occasion and protect what is the most important business in this country, which is conducting very, very free, fair, and credible, all-inclusive elections by listening, to us. So I think I want to let the parties
make no other demand for any extension whatsoever. We must maintain this timetable, and INEC must insist that this timetable is maintained till the
Mr. Samson Itodo, I must sincerely thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Always a delight.
Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, okay. Well, just before I go, this is my final word, everyone. Last week, I spoke directly to a segment of the population I called the less than 1% of us who have been tagged the beautiful brides of the party primaries courted by the aspirants. Today, I would like to speak to yet another less than 1% of us who have been attributed the ownership of this great nation. Like in all the nations of the world, the powerful political elites will determine who governs us. Like a proverbial knees on our necks, this nation is choking. We can no longer breathe. There is a shortage of air. We need to allow this nation thrive. I'm pleading with you tonight on behalf of millions of our people, more than 10 million of their children who are out of school, and more than half of the population who are in abject poverty. This nation cannot be taken as a private enterprise anymore. You, the ordinary Nigerian, can no longer keep quiet. The nation belongs to all of us. And this time around again, no sitting on the fence. We must speak up to rescue this nation. The continent of Africa is waiting for its giant to rise up and flourish. That is why 2023 election is a make or mar. Look, this nation cannot make a mistake with the choice of its next leader. It is a must we get it right. If you employ the best hands to run your private companies, we should have the best of us run the affairs of this nation. We must get leadership right, not only at the center, but across the states. Knowledge, crisis management skills, character and integrity, vision and courage to make tough decisions, effective communication skills, ability to unite the nation. Leaders who cannot show these traits cannot be hired. Enough is enough. Nigeria, rise. Vote and vote right. And your time is now. And that is my final word tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. Bye for now.